I want to talk about Donald Trump. But before I do, I want to say something about the UFC fights last night at the White House. The people who are complaining that this is beneath the dignity of the White House are such elitists. It's just shocking to me that every president has held events at the White House. There have been presidents who loved plays, and people have put plays on at the White House. There has been opera at the White House. There have been great singers at the White House. And the reality is, fighting is part of American culture, like it or not. Millions and millions of people like it. And Donald Trump gave them access to the White House last night with an event that aligns with what goes on in American culture. UFC is huge in America right now, and people loved it. A lot of people didn't, but a lot of people did. And the idea of saying this is beneath the dignity of the White House, I think just speaks to how out of touch people are, thinking that, yeah, we can hold events at the White House that are culturally things that I sign off on, but not things I don't. That is intolerant. What happened at the White House last night was fine. Okay, that said, I have been away for a week, and I came back over the weekend, and I was watching all these political pundits who were saying that Donald Trump is doing and not doing things that are going to cost Republicans in the midterms dearly, especially when it comes to the cost of living. And they think the White House has made a gigantic miscalculation. I think Donald Trump is exactly on the course he wants, to create what he believes will be a legacy that has absolutely nothing to do with the cost of living. It is a legacy about power and strength. So, before I continue, it is a fair question. Why does anybody give a crap about what this TMZ guy thinks about all of this? Well, that is what's so great about free speech. I get to say it, and you can drag me or tune me out, or maybe even agree with some of it. Donald Trump has never been conventionally presidential. He is a builder by training with an ego the size of the Trump Tower. He reveled in having his name plastered on just about every building he ever built. I will tell you a story that I know this, that before Donald Trump became president, when he was working at a Trump Tower, he would point out the window to visitors and say, "That's my building, that's my building, look at my name on that building." He loved it, so it is on brand. So what looks to a lot of people like a distraction, which is, tearing down the East Wing, building a ballroom, an arch, trying to insinuate himself on the wall of the Kennedy Center, having an airport named after him, turning the White House into a gold-plated spectacle. That is not a distraction. That is the plan. That is who Donald Trump is. He wants George Washington presence in this country, in D.C. and elsewhere. He wants that stamp. He's not relying on other people to accomplish it posthumously. He is doing it himself now. As for Iran, he was serious when he said he didn't care about the U.S. economy, I think. He felt that he would become a hero if he could eliminate Iran as a nuclear threat. That is not a bad concept. It was just terribly executed. But the plan was to show something that distinguishes some leaders from others, and that is power and strength. So that's why he set his sights on Venezuela, on Cuba, on Greenland, even Canada. He wants the legacy of a power president. Now, just a minute on the midterms. I don't think he cares if the Republicans lose control of Congress. I really don't. He's defanged Congress in the last year and a half anyway, and probably thinks that he can continue to do so with executive orders. Texas is a good example of this. Paxton is an incredibly flawed candidate. But Donald Trump showed everyone that he had the power and the strength to do whatever he wanted, and that his people would fall in line, and they did. Again, it is power and strength, and that is his mantra. So as for all of the retribution that Donald Trump has engaged in, that's who he is. I don't think Donald Trump views retribution as a bug. I think it is a feature with Donald Trump. Now, the thing he's forgetting is that he is just a master at being able to will something to become true when it isn't necessarily. That doesn't work in the history books, which I think is one of the reasons he hasn't been a big fan of true history. So you look at what historians are going to see, and they'll see all the gold trappings and the nameplates. They can all be removed, and it's kind of an amusing aside, when the history books are written, but it's not going to change the core text. Donald Trump has been anti-free speech. I mean, look at the gang of 6 that he wanted to prosecute members of Congress. He has been anti-press, although that's complicated because even though he's gone after traditional media, he's opened it up to non-traditional media, to new media where they have access to the White House that they never had before. He is certainly anti-blind justice, and I think he is somebody who views the Constitution as an obstacle. And I think that is what historians are going to write about when all is said and done. Okay, so that is the take from this TMZ guy. You can take it or you can leave it.